I'd like to start the meeting, call the meeting to order. Today is October 16th. No, it's not. Today is
The 20th, November the 20th.
I'm reading off of these things. November 20th is the Blue Ribbon Committee for People with Disabilities. And I'd like to start the meeting by a review of the minutes for the September 18th meeting. Do you all have copies of that?
I don't, yes.
You don't
The
have.
minutes
I don't.
is Australian.
Here's hard copies for any of the members if you don't have them.
Those are the
Minutes?
No, those are the minutes.
Do you need him?
So you need
I
the
gave it to
agenda
you.
then.
Yeah. Yeah, there's them, okay.
The agenda for there. That's the
Here's the
agenda.
agenda.
So this is today, that was last week.
There you go. That makes sense.
A couple of things on the minutes, guys. I'm sorry, I got a little thrown off when we were at the airport. The format is actually the agenda format. I just realized it. It doesn't have like the attendance part and that. I'll tweak it as long as you guys approve the content. I'll fix it and then send it out.
Did you talk to me about the agreement? That was pretty much all. Le copio, because you lost your changes. And.
You all
I'm
had time to
sending
look at
it.
them?
Do I send it?
Send it.
Do I?
Any
copy them?
changes, reviews,
Do I copy them?
edits, anything that you all feel that need to be looked at or changed? If not, I need someone to motion to approve the minutes as
Make
they
a
are.
motion to approve the minutes.
Thank you, sir. And
I second.
thank you. The minutes are approved as they are.
Mr. Chairman, no one signed up for public comments. You do have a guest, and you can either take his comments here or in the announcements. It's up to you.
Well, we can do it now. Mr. Duncan, if you'd like to address the group, we're more
Yes.
than happy to hear you.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Thank you guys for inviting me here today. I know we've done several different projects through the Laredo Nunos Lions and with Mr. Delgado and with Luis Garcia. Try to bring awareness for the issues we have going on, with people with sight, limited sight, but not only that, for all kinds of disabilities within the city. We are currently in talks with the Alamo Draft House to do another event, another movie day, so we can get something going. Looking hopefully maybe during Christmas time, if not afterwards. What we want to do is we're in contact with the schools also to maybe do it during the school day, so they can bus the students there, maybe have more than one theater, so that we can fit as many people as we can in there. Again, it'll be free of charge to them. We're not going to charge them anything because it's something that I think that they quite enjoy. I'm currently working with several different organizations within our district, 282, which is our Lions district, which is the central region of Texas from San Antonio down to this way. And there's a couple of groups that I want to bring down, and maybe we can invite them to one of your meetings one time. One of them is the Guide Dogs of Texas. And another one is the Rivers Edge Dog Academy. Guide Dogs of Texas are out of San Antonio, and Rivers Edge is out of College Station, Texas. The major difference between these two groups, the one out of San Antonio is strictly guide dogs for the blind. The one out of College Station, and which is I think something that would benefit the committee and benefit the city of Laredo. These people train dogs not just for guide dogs, but for diabetic dogs and for PTSD dogs. I was very fortunate to be at a meeting in San Antonio where they turned a dog over to a freshman student at Texas State University who has type 1 diabetes, and she's to the point where she's on the pump and she's on a monitor 24 hours a day. Her sugar levels go down at night, of course, because they're asleep, and they drop drastically. Her mom gets an alert on her phone saying, hey, it's down, get a hold of her. So they try to call her, she doesn't answer. They've gotten to the point where they've had to call campus security a couple of times to wake her up. Fortunately, this little girl knows what's going on, so she's prepared. She has all her stuff ready to go. They were able to turn over a dog to her at this last meeting. And what this dog does, it senses and it smells where your levels are low. There's a certain scent that we emit when our sugar levels are low, and this dog can sense that. They're trained to do that. And the only way the dog gets a treat is when they hit that scent. And it was very funny because we had one of our Lions members from San Antonio. She was there and she went up to see the dog, and right away the dog did what it was supposed to do. It sat down, it lay down, it went up to her, and they're like, "Well, what's going on?" And the gentleman, Kyle's like, "Did you take your medicine this morning? What did you eat this morning? What have you done?" I said, "Why?" He says, "You're type 1 diabetic, and this dog knows that your sugar level is below 70. It was amazing to see this in action.
Is that?
That was amazing to see this in action. So I am in contact with them also to bring them down, so we can kind of maybe go to city council or come with you guys, because I know there's lots of people here in Laredo that might need this kind of service.
Yes.
The dogs aren't cheap. Our district actually raised $15,000 for this little girl to get her dog, and she was in dire need of the animal. Like I said, she is a freshman student at Texas State University. She's on her own.
And was that to cover full cost, or was it just
That was
to
the full
offset?
cost.
Okay.
That was the full cost. Our district actually paid for the full cost of the animal for her. Beautiful, beautiful yellow lab that was actually getting ready to be put down. They called him from Corpus Christi, from the kill shelter in Corpus, and said, "We have a full-bred yellow lab that we're getting ready to put down in an hour, unless you want him." He drove from College Station to Corpus to pick up that animal. And it was amazing to see what this dog can do. So we are in constant contact with MIM, through our Lions Club here, so we could bring something like that to Laredo to kind of demonstrate and showcase what these types of animals can do and how we can help the community. We were getting ready to put on with Luz Garcia, through her program, we're doing a little Christmas program and stuff like that to help some of her kids and her families in her area. I was recently at a town hall meeting in District 6, and thank you, Mr. Gonzalez, for recognizing me. I don't look for recognition, trust me, I don't. Like I said,
It follows you.
it kind of does. And like I said, the first year that I was involved with the White Cane, the Lions are here. We're just very undercover, and we don't like the recognition. But we do many, many things in the community that we don't take credit for. We just do them, and I think that's what we should all do. Is just do them and walk away from it. We talked a lot in that meeting about different things that can bring Laredo, to help Laredo, especially with the Blue Ribbon Committee. One thing that I brought up was ADA compliance at all our parks. I think there's one park here in Laredo that has, maybe two now, I think. Bartlett, I think, has them, and the Thomas Park on Thomas, the walking trail, has stuff for kids with disabilities. That's it. And we have...
I think Haynes does.
Haynes is the other one.
Okay, the Haynes Rec Center. So 3 parks out of
90.
90 parks have stuff for children with disabilities. And we tend to forget about them. We tend to leave them aside. And, you know, us as Lions, we're trying to make a push to bring that more relevant and more aware to the public that there are people out here. We're setting up to send some more kids to camp. I don't know if y'all are aware, but we do send kids to summer camp. And it's not just a diabetes camp. The Lions camp in Kerrville, Texas is a month-long camp. There's every week is a different group. Not only is it a type 1 diabetes camp, but it's also for kids with disabilities. So you can send kids with special needs, kids in wheelchairs, kids with sight problems. You can send them to this camp and it's free of charge to them. And all the money is raised throughout the state of Texas to do this. What I would ask for you guys is names of people y'all may know or children that y'all may know that we can kind of recommend to send to this camp. We do give them money for gas to get up there, or if they need a ride, we give them a ride up there, and we drop them off, and they go have fun for a week, and they're get to be kids.
What age?
I think the age caps off at like 16, I think. I will get y'all information on that. I'll email you all information on that. Or you can look it up on lionscamp.org, and it has Texas Lions Camp, and it has the information on there, the registration and all that stuff. But we can definitely help out in any way that we can to get them there, because there are spots reserved for each area to send kids to it. And it's an amazing camp. I do suggest y'all take a look at the website and maybe even take a trip to see what goes on there, because it's amazing. And the kids open up and they flourish because they get to be kids. And I think that's a big stigma that we have here in Laredo, is that, oh, he's disabled, we can't do anything with him. Oh, he's this, we can't do anything with him. And I think we need to break that stigma here in Laredo. And I know your guys are doing a great job in helping out doing that, but we're trying to push it even more. So we have several things in the works that I'm trying to finish before my presidency ends. But I'll still continue to work with them because I'm still aligned, and I'll be aligned until they kick me out. They tell me you're no longer wanted here. But I'll continue to grow and help with the community, and that's what we're here to do. Do y'all have any questions?
What's the name of the website that we would look this under?
TexasLionsCamp.org.
I have a question. So
ma'am.
where does your funding come from for the club?
Our funding?
Yes.
Our funding comes from our dues that we do.
So
We
there's no
collect-
outreach and grants and none of that?
No,
It's
ma'am.
just your dues?
Our dues, our club is the second oldest club in the state of Texas. We're about to turn 100 years old in 2 years. There's only one other club in Texas, and that's at San Antonio. I think it's San Antonio's founder. They're 101, I think. So we're right behind them.
Excuse me, Mr. Duncan, where did you say the funding comes from?
From our own personal dues.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. So, I mean, we've had money in our account for years, and we kind of went dormant, and then we came back up and continued to fight and start trying to build our club back up again. At one point, we were over 100 members strong. Right now, we're at 15, 16 members, but we're all very active in everything we do. Our club is comprised of business owners, professionals, doctors, and they like to help out and they like to do their things. Again, we don't look for the recognition because that's not what we're about. We like to go in and swift, silent, deadly, so to speak, and just get the job done and walk away. And that's what we like doing. But we're definitely here to help out in everything that we can for the community. And,
So your membership, 15 to 16, is that the Laredo area or what?
that's our Laredo area.
Okay.
That's the Laredo Noon Host Lions.
Okay.
There's clubs in San Antonio that are over 120, 150 strong. I know one club in San Antonio, their annual fundraiser is a year-long fundraiser, and it's the telescopes at the top of the Towers of America. So you put in a quarter and you can see the city. That's their fundraiser. Those telescopes are theirs.
Well, let's put a telescope up.
You know, that's what I'm saying. You know, I mean, they go in there and drop a quarter. They go monthly or weekly, whatever, and they clear it out. That's their fundraiser. I know in College Station, the Lions Club in College Station, their fundraiser is selling programs at the Aggie football games. So you got 20 members outside of Kyle Field selling $5 programs. If I'm not mistaken, they get 50% profit out of everything they sell. On top of the people outside, they have people inside selling programs in certain areas of the stadium. When you have a stadium that sits 102, 106,000 people, you want to say at least half of them get a program?
Right. That's great.
That's easy bank for them. Very easy bank for them.
And what are some of you alls that you do here locally?
Locally, the one fundraiser that we have locally, and we actually give that money back to the community, is we sell waters at the Jalapeno Festival. So we have a booth set up, and we try to get it all donated to us so that we don't have to spend out of pocket. And I've been in contact with LNF, and it looks like they might donate this year to us so that we don't have to spend any money on waters and sodas and all that stuff. We just show up, sell, and done. That money goes back to the people that help us. And a lot of times we have the local university, we have a fraternity, Omega Delta Phi. They came out and they help us sell waters and sodas, whatever we're selling. That money goes back to them. So we say, you know what, you come and help us out, we're gonna give you community service hours, and we'll give you 75% of what we make. So 25% will stay with us for anything that we need to do, and everything else goes back to them to put in their kitty so they can do their projects and their outreach services for their fraternity. So we try not to keep anything at all. Everything gets back to the community. And what our money's used for that we save is to send the kids to camp. So we don't.
That's how they can go.
That's how they can go to the camp. So we continue to do that, and we can. It's free no matter what. We give them $100 for gas, and we don't have to do that. But it's like, you know what? We understand it's a trip, and we'll give you $100 for gas just to kind of help offset the fuel cost. So that's what we do for them, and that's what anything we raise that way, that's where it goes to. So we don't keep any of the money.
So I have a number of questions. What's the size of your membership?
Right now, 16.
16.
Yes, sir.
And what are the dues?
Our dues are quarterly, and our dues are $175 quarterly.
Okay. And typically, if it's not, I guess this is public record, or what is your annual budget or revenues?
Our annual budget of revenues, I don't have that for you, but I can get you that information.
No, I'm just curious because I know that you're telling us that you also pay $15,000 on a dog, and you send.
Well,
kids,
that was through the entire district.
And you send
the
send
entire-
children to the parks.
Mhm.
Okay, so that can accumulate real fast, and so I'm just curious.
11,200
Huh?
on this dues.
No, right? The Texas Lions Camp, they have a foundation that's set up throughout the entire state of Texas. Each Lions Club in the state of Texas, not just our club, not just our district, donates to the Texas Lions Camp, and they have grants and they have stuff like that also. So that's how they're able to provide a free service to the children to go to the camp for a month.
Okay.
On our part, we give a stipend for gas to the parents that go. That's what we do. So what was the other? You had a.
That was it. You've answered all.
Okay. Sorry.
No, I was just trying to identify what that budget would look like, okay, for the amount of children and the amount of activities that you all do. So
It's still, yeah, it's
For-
like any programs that we do here, like the one we did over at the Alamo Draft House, we actually had Bruni Lions Club and the Rotary Club actually sponsored certain children. So we said this is the cost. The cost is going to be $20 or whatever it was. And so Rotary Club, they went to Rotary and said, hey, Lions is doing this, can you sponsor a child? And so, we'll sponsor 3. So each, individual people were sponsoring. And then when it came down to it, I think I was still short about $1,500 or maybe $2,000 or something like that. And I went to Bruni Lions Club, because they're one of our clubs in our district that we work hand in hand with. And, just went to talk to them, told them to invite them to the event and tell them what we were doing. And right then and there, they cut me a check. I said, here's the rest of your stuff. Here's the rest of the payment for the movie theater. And that was amazing. I sat there and I was crying because it's for someone to do that, and they know it's for the kids. It was amazing. Any funds that we collected from that went back to the community, went back to the programs that we're working on. And the dog, $15,000 for the dog. Since she's in our district, the family lives in our 282 district, which is San Antonio down this way. All the clubs in our district donated and contributed money for that animal. In fact, within 3 days, the animal was paid for, and there was extra money from donations that's still sitting in our district fund in case someone else needs it. And so that's district wide in our area.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Duncan, just on behalf of the committee, and the committee members can speak for themselves, but on behalf of the city, you know, we wanted to thank the Lions. There's a lot of history, and throughout the years, you also teamed with public health, you and the Rotaries, to eradicate polio. And so there's a lot of history
Yes.
with the Lions in particular, but I think you hit it on the nail in dealing with people with disabilities. Fighting the stigma is critical, and then making sure that services are there. And so on behalf of the city, and Mayor was going to try to make it. I was just at a meeting with him to express the city's appreciation for what the Lions do, and in particular for movie night and for White Cane, because those are creating awareness.
Yes.
And I think you saw for White Cane Day a big increase from last year to this year.
Yes.
And so more persons are participating, more persons are becoming aware, and I think that's important. And then now you sharing the different services, I think the committee, and again, they can speak for
And
themselves.
I can tell you, we've been here, some of us have been here like 7 or 8 years. And I think this is the first time I think the Lions Club has been so active, okay? And so that's, of course, due to your leadership as well,
Thank you.
primarily. But I do want to recognize that, the fact that in the last year and a half or two, you've been very active, and you've brought a number of activities for individuals with disabilities to the forefront, and you can make them public. And so we appreciate your assistance and your help for that.
Thank you. Thank you. We're one of our biggest motto in the Lions Club is we serve, and that's what I'm instilling in our group is service. You know, I serve in the military. You know, I serve at church, and I serve through the Lions. And when we're put on this earth to serve each other, and that's what I believe in, is serving. And that's why we're doing what we're doing. And you know, our group has a strong belief in serving, and that's what we're here for. You know, we're small in number, but we pack a punch.
And that's probably why I asked about your membership numbers, because I said, well, it seems they do a lot. It must be a large group.
No, we're a small group. Like I said, we do team up with Bruni, and they're a small group also. But we get things done. And we do have the site buses that come down also for certain events that they have at the health clinic on the one on Papa Street, I think it is.
Yes.
We bring the Lions site bus down, and we do that also, especially right before school starts, and we have people going through that constantly. We have our eyeglass collection that we turn those glasses in. And what they do from that point is they clean them, they check them, they make sure everything's good, and then it gets distributed throughout the entire world. So it's not just here locally or in San Antonio, they get distributed throughout the world for people that need glasses. I mean, they may not be 100% their prescription, but it's going to be better than what they have right now, which is nothing.
Okay.
A little surprise for, I'm going to add a little surprise for next year for the White Cane. We're in communication right now with HEB. They do a White Cane awareness also in San Antonio, Austin, and other cities, of course. HEB actually brought in food in San Antonio. And so they were able to feed the multitudes of people at their event. So we're reaching out to them right now to see what we can do to have that event, have them do the same thing with us. Because what I envision on the White Cane is, like Dr. Gonzalez was saying, it got bigger this year. But I want more children to be participating, and I want there to be a bigger health fair, so to speak, at Jarvis Plaza, where we can do the site. We can have people checking blood pressure and all that good stuff, and maybe even give them a little snack to eat, and have more awareness, health awareness issues. Then also, because it's not just about blind, the walk is about the site. It's about the whole. It's about your health and how we can better the community that way also.
Does Puerto Region not have, they have that mobile unit, right? That may be a good collaboration,
With
right,
Puerto
to bring
Region,
them,
to
and
bring
they've
them
got
all,
all those
yes.
services.
Yes. And so, I mean, we're definitely gonna start talking with more people, and, you know, it's just trying to grow it bigger and better for everybody. And, you know, reach out to the community and make them aware of all health issues. You know, we're still in November right now, which is the No Shave November, right? And that's for men's health issues.
Right.
You know, because us as men don't like to go to the doctor and don't like to find out what's wrong with us. You know, so, you know, we need to push awareness on all grounds, and we're definitely trying to do that.
Thank you. Yeah, we need to recognize that you've done a lot in the short time that you've been there.
Thank you.
So we appreciate anything where you can, that you've done and what you're elaborating and augmenting as well. So thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you, I do appreciate it, thank you.
Mr. Chair, one final thing as a recommendation to the committee, and you submit 2 formal reports to the mayor and city council, and then you make a presentation at city council. Maybe when you do it in January, February, again to highlight the needs of persons with disabilities. You know, Mr. Duncan can be invited to join the Blue Ribbon Committee in making your annual presentation to council.
Sure.
I'll be
We'd
more than happy
appreciate
to get there and talk
Thank
to
you.
them. I'll be more than happy, because there's a lot of things I think we need to improve, and I said it there at the meeting.
They need to be educated.
Yes, they do, and, you know, our sidewalks need to be widened, we need sidewalks everywhere. You know, I have a friend that's part of the fraternity that's in a wheelchair. You know, we constantly give him rides because he needs rides. But when he tries to go places on his own, he can't, because there's no sidewalks, or the sidewalks are broken, or the sidewalks aren't big enough to get around in his wheelchair. And that's the biggest thing for him, you know, and it's sad that we're at that point. It really is. But we can change it.
Yeah.
We can change it. It starts. You put that mustard seed in and let it grow. One person at a time.
That's in spite of the fact that the city of Laredo has done some real efforts to improve the sidewalks.
Yes, they have. No, I
Okay,
agree.
I mean, there's
They have.
significant changes, okay, because
Yes.
there used to be no dips, no nothing, okay, before. There was like,
Oh, I remember.
brincate la banqueta.
I
como-
remember. My grandparents lived over there by San Francisco Javier. You know, so my dad's from the barrio, from the old school barrio, the Sal Si Puedes. You know, so I remember walking the streets. I remember walking up and down the sidewalks downtown, and yeah, if you're in a wheelchair or you're in crutches, forget about it. You better do something to get around, because I remember those times.
Now and again, Mr. Chair, committee members, for the first time, the city budgeted a special budget for streets improvement.
Yes.
And they include sidewalks, because for 2 reasons. One, our growing population of disabilities, and this committee has discussed it, it's not just disabilities. As we age, then mobility becomes affected. But also, as we want the community to be healthier and walk, you need a sidewalk.
Yes.
So it's a safety, it's a health, and then also to meet the needs of persons with disabilities. And so a big push. And for a while, there wasn't dedicated monies, and for the first time in many years, yes, the city appropriated strictly monies for street improvement that includes sidewalks. So, in large part, is hearing from you.
Yeah, 'cause I occasionally walk out in the street, and yeah, the most streets have ramps now. Okay, so that's significant. 'Cause in the old days there wasn't anything. So I know anytime you break cement and rebuild, it costs a lot of money. So cities made a very significant effort to improve that.
100,000 went into the initial budget, with more to come. But we went from 0 to 100,000 just for street improvement.
So does the city keep track of what sidewalks are still pending to be improved?
Yes, Public Works is the charge agency department, and that's what they do. It's everywhere that they go, and they track, and so their responsibility is to make sure they address each district, each council district with the most severe problems, and then start again. And this is in addition to their budgeted money. This is just for that. And so they have a dedicated budget, and then their regular budget that they they gotta do the same.
And adding on what Dr. Gonzalez was saying there, I believe my district, District 6, is the second worst in
Yes.
streets in Laredo. And, you know, it's growing by leaps and bounds in that area with all the schools. And then, of course, with the new United High School, the new middle school going over there, the new elementary schools going over there, the new 9th grade campuses going over there. And yeah, our streets are terrible. And the money is now budgeted to help improve all the streets of Laredo. And it's much needed, much needed.
Okay, thank you. Anything else, Mr. Duncan, that you'd like to discuss?
No, I think we've, sidewalks, we've already talked about that, talked about everything else, and, you know, I'm here for you guys. I'm always available, 24 hours a day. I have my email on my phone, so I always answer emails at night. My wife gets mad at me, but that's how I work. That's how I work.
If I could just add, Mr. Duncan, you mentioned the partnership with Ms. Luz Garcia
Yes.
for the gift exchange
Yes.
or sponsorship. If the committee is interested, I think the email included all of you. If not, we'll share the information with you. We did have staff from the health department already commit to sponsoring a family.
Thank you.
There are still some left, so if you all are interested, let me know, and we'll do the collection here. We'll centralize it to me December 6th, and then for December 7th, we'll provide it
Thank
to
you.
Ms. Garcia.
Appreciate
So
it.
just let me know,
I do appreciate it.
okay? Excuse me, I have to go to.
I want a PlayStation 4 in case you want.
If you have any additional information from the kiddos, let us know.
Yes.
I did get some inquiries as to what would be appropriate, or, you know.
I honestly, and I've met the kids, and I've dealt with them the past couple of years also. Honestly, it's anything that you can get to them because they're appreciative of anything they get, anything at all. I know that at the Habitat for Humanity warehouse, I frequent that place a lot because I like buying stuff from there. They have boxes and boxes and boxes of board games. $25 for 5 board games. I mean, it's all the same board game in that one box. But I mean, imagine buying 4 or 5 boxes, and that takes care of these, you know, several kids right there. You know, they're cheap. $25 for 5 games is not expensive at all.
But I'll follow up with another email and just let me know so we can have
Thank
Nathan
you.
by the December 6th.
Thank you. I
Okay?
appreciate it.
Excuse me, guys.
I really don't have anything else to share. I do appreciate you guys inviting me here today.
On the contrary, thank you for taking the time to come down here.
It gets me out of the office. I'm okay.
You know, if we can, you know, we offer any assistance that we can, and you know, you make your offer to assist, but we reciprocate the same. We're willing to assist and help in any way that we can,
Thank you.
and we appreciate anything that you do to enlighten the community about what are the needs of the individuals with disabilities. So we thank you for that.
Thank you. And I will give you my business cards in case I don't have it with my email address on it. Like I said, I answer my email all the time. Even on vacation, I answer my emails.
Okay, thank you so much. So item number 4, it's pretty much we've discussed it. And let's go on to item B, discussion possible action, special needs support for the airport. Last meeting we had it at the airport, and not everybody could attend, but we did have at least a quorum there. And what their efforts are in the right direction of trying to implement an area of the airport that can be of assistance or entertaining or of value to individuals specifically with autism. And so apparently they already have like a kids playground, okay, that I guess none of us, I don't know if it's been there forever, no?
No.
Because it's right in front of like where the bathrooms are, a little bit to your left. And so it's a real nice area, but I had never seen it. And since most of us don't go in that part of the airport until we just need to go to the bathroom, and so we may have missed it, but it's pretty comprehensive and pretty complete right now but they were asking us if there was any what was our input to assist those families with kids who are autistic and how we could help them. And of course we spoke about needless to say that most of us get some degree of anxiety or issues when we're traveling, especially by plane, and so that could affect children as well. So we talked about the sensitivity devices or elements or instruments that are used in other organizations to calm children down, okay, and to make them feel a little bit more comfortable. And so those are the discussions that we had. So we left that pending, okay, so I'm assuming that we need to get back to the airport director for that.
Mr. Chairman, an excellent summary for those of you that didn't go, but really they're waiting for any recommendations. I know Dr. Withinger already sent us a website and we shared it to do a mapping to help reduce the anxiety of anyone with a disability, especially children, by knowing and explaining the different steps that you're gonna first have to buy the ticket, then you gotta go through the screening, and it's gonna take so much time from X to B. That helps. And so they already are looking at that. But the other thing is what Mr. Chairman said is that they have a designated area, and some of us who were there saw it, and so they want your recommendations from the committee. What else do they do? They put special carpeting so the kids can sit, and they do want to enclose it so it can have the right lighting, because the priority is spectrum, but also any disability, to make sure that the persons are comfortable. One other thing that they shared, and they had the security folks that many of us weren't aware, is that you can call ahead to make arrangements for if you're in a wheelchair or you've also got another disability, you have a sight issue, you can already call to make arrangements to already get you ready to fast track you through the screening process. And so they know, and they encourage us to test it, because it's a 1-800 number, and sometimes with 1-800 numbers, you get a machine, you don't get a body, and they want to know if they're not answering. So they shared some information. I think we'll send out the website, so all the committee members, but those who were there, we did get some handouts. And if you weren't, then we'll share that with you, so you can access that too. But I think for those of us who work with people with disabilities, I think it's important that when they do travel, they know they can call ahead for special arrangements.
I would like to request permission to have one of our vocational rehab counselors that's a subject matter expert on autism to maybe chime in on what recommendations she has. Her name is Ruby Lopez, because she has a lot of certified training in this area through our agency, especially with children.
If you can give me her info, or for them just to contact
I can
you.
gather the info and send it to you.
Okay, and then we can give it to the airport director.
Uh-huh.
No, that would be wonderful. You get an expert to, because there's different devices or stimulation systems that are used. Okay, they can be visual and light, sensitivity,
Color,
and color,
sound.
and so you know, speaking to Dr. Withinger, she also tells me, well, what calms one child can also create anxiety in others. So
That is correct.
so you have to have categorically, you have to have different portions or divisions or stimuli for different children. And so, you know,
That, Daniela, excuse me, that can also be part of like the pre-boarding or even the pre-getting to the airport. A little simple, informal inventory of, what could be done. Because everyone's different. We have a tendency to categorize and say, well, all AU kids are the same. We're really not. We're all different.
correct.
That is correct, because this VRC does say that a lot. You see one autistic child, you see one autistic child. It's not there. I mean, that's why they call it a spectrum, because there's a lot of different things that go into that. But maybe she's got some feedback that might help, because I'm certainly not an autism expert. So Okay.
Well, Mr. Chair, then if we can, I don't know, if Dr. Ruthinger or someone wants to take a lead in developing.
Let me dig and see what I have from when I worked at the outpatient clinic for spectrum disorders. Let me dig through what I have and see if I can come up with informal inventory that could maybe facilitate and help in that regard.
And in addition to giving the advice, assistance, information, then give them the name of Ms. Lopez, because they definitely said, as the chair said, they want training, sensitivity training.
Correct.
If I can add, this is Betsy on the phone. If I can add, there are 2 clinics in Laredo also that are very open to working with people, and I'm pretty sure that they would like to collaborate. It's the Laredo Autism Center and Kids Rehab, and the Laredo Autistic and Kids Rehab.
Ms. Gutierrez, can you send that to me?
Yes, I can send that to you. They're located in South Laredo, but they work a lot with individuals with disabilities, more so in the autism area. And so they actually have a center where they have, what is it called, tactile things. And, you know, chances are that if they came in, they would look at what they have there and they would be able to give them an assessment as to whether some of the things that they want to implement are appropriate play therapy for short term. Because one of the things that happens is it's really hard to work with children with autism, especially if they get fixated on something. So sometimes what we think is going to be really good for them turns out to be a problem, because now we're trying to pull them away, and it creates more of an issue in getting them on a plane, for example. So getting someone who's already worked with these kids and who can see what the environment looks like and what would be appropriate would be good. I mean, they're doing it on a daily basis. We're not.
Yes, that's the clinic I supervise. Staff testing. So,
Yeah. Well, that's good.
yeah. I'll let me see what I can come up with to help out.
Thank you, Doctor.
And
Thank you.
Mr. Chair and committee members, right now it's to the airport, but remember Parks has also outreach to this committee for the same thing, for sensitivity training and advice. Well mentioned by Mr. Duncan that Parks also needs to improve a lot of their facilities, but they're also asking for recommendations from this committee and for training. So it's not only airport, right now they've reached out, but Parks as well.
Yeah, but we've worked with the city's other departments before. Yeah, I think the airport's a new one.
Yes.
Okay. The other thing is, I guess, the airport system also, what do you do once you have a person that's autistic inside the plane? I mean, how do you get them up there, and how do you keep them entertained or calm? Okay, is another issue. Okay, which once they fly off, it's something else, right?
Yeah.
But I guess the first few minutes of absolute anxiety for most people is the takeoff. Okay, once it's up there, we're fine. But we do a lot of praying on the way up there.
Yes, we do. Up and down.
Up and down.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's fine. If we can just go ahead and do that, then Dr. Ruthinger, you'll send us that information, and Ms.
Let me see
Gutierrez.
what I can come up with. I'll work on it.
And Ms. Gutierrez, the same thing. If you can send us the name of those individuals also, or the organizations rather.
I sure will. Thank you.
Okay. And then I guess we need Ms. Lopez's information too.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, next item is we have the update of a City of Laredo MOU with Workforce Vocational Rehab for internship and work experience.
So let me just say, Dr. Gonzalez, I know that I had promised you that I would send out an email kind of capturing the discussion with the City of Laredo on the MOU. However, I was talking to Diana on the way over here. VR actually has a service now that it might be the solution to all of the issues that we had that meeting for. So on November the 7th, this is like hot off the press. We received a guidance memo, and of course, it's a new service, a statewide service. And so what it is it's a work experience for adult VR customers, which, just to give you guys a little backdrop, the issue that we were having, that the city of Laredo, Mrs. Gutierrez, and the health department and Workforce Solutions had come together because we have found a gap in service with a customer that we currently have, in that customer doesn't meet the age criteria for PREETS, paid work experience. The year-round seal is what we call it. People understand that. So what this new guidance memo that just came out on November 7th, what it addresses is those customers. The customers that cannot go under our PREETS umbrella, the adult VR customers that are looking for paid work experience. So we were trying to figure out how to make that work, and this guidance memo solves that. So what it is it's very similar to PREETS paid work, in that it is still a site that can only do the work experience on a short-term basis for 12 weeks or fewer, and it can only be part-time. But of course, the part-time definition for this service is an average of 30 hours per week for the duration of those 12 weeks. So in other words, you can technically have 40 hours in one week and 20 hours in the other, as long as the complete hours divided by the 12 weeks averages 30. The beauty in this, because the issue that we were having is who will pay if a customer gets injured. That was the crux of it all. And so with this service, we are contracting with WorkQuest, which, Martha, you might be familiar. They used to be formerly Texas Industries for the Blind and Handicapped, or TIBH. They're now called WorkQuest. And so they are the payroll for us and the insurance writer, like Workforce Solutions is for SEAL and youth paid work. And so they're the ones that are going to be covering that aspect,
And
that
solves
we
that.
were all, how are we gonna do this? And so it's a beautiful thing. It's God is a good God, because this will solve that issue. I mean, it's up to Mrs. Gutierrez if she wishes to continue with the MOU with the city, that will be up to them. But this will capture that gap for those adults that are looking for paid work experience.
I have a question regarding that. What is the pay rate for them per hour?
Yes. So the pay rate is the way it works is that, and it's the same for some workforce boards, is that WorkQuest bills an hourly rate which includes their payroll fees and their workers' comp fees. So they have them split up into 3 levels: entry level, intermediate level, and advanced level. And these levels are going to be representing the level of education that customer has. So if they have high school, their entry, intermediate, a certification training, whatnot. If they have an advanced degree, they're under advanced. Those are things that the counselor and the customer will have to look at and see what level they are. But currently the way it's set up is the entry level payment to WorkQuest, not to the customer, is $19.96 entry level, $24.74 intermediate, $34.83 advanced. But if you're looking at the actual wages of the customer, entry is $10.90, intermediate is $13.92, and advanced is $20.32. So that's how it's currently set up, which I think the rates are pretty good because
Yes.
currently what we have with our paid work for youth is minimum wage, which is fine for a youth who has usually has no credentials and no work experience, so it's suitable. But these are gonna, because remember, these are adult VR. So a lot of these may be educated, they may be trained, they may have experience. So naturally, those rates are not gonna be the same as for a child in high school. So I just said hallelujah when I read this. I just read this guidance memo this morning because I've just been so busy trying to get ready to leave on vacation. But this solves all of our issues, Dr. Gonzalez, because if you guys are still willing to be a site, there's a process now. We don't have to be scratching and digging and trying to figure out how we're gonna do it. There's a service
And how soon can this start?
address
Or
it.
how soon?
My understanding is that it is already,
It's in
it's
place.
already a done deal. When a guidance memo goes out, it's already effective. They have all the MAPS codes here, how you open up the SA. It has all the responsibilities of the business side, the responsibilities of WorkQuest, the responsibilities of the VR staff. Like this is an 11-page document. It's all in here, so it's ready to roll. Now granted, there may be some kinks because again, it's a brand new service, but it's my understanding ready to roll.
And-
So I would like at some point, maybe after the holidays, or maybe early December, before Christmas, to get with you guys and the city of Laredo to share this and answer any questions they may have, and let them know that we're not in that quandary anymore.
And Mr. Chair and committee members,
So-
on the city side, the health department, because we've done the youth seal, you know, we're kind of the demonstration to the rest of the departments, but this opens up the door to all city departments. And so I know we have a young man waiting in our finance department to do his paid experience, but parks, engineering, public works, and us are all certainly open, and on the youth side we have been and will continue. So this opens, I think it does answer all the questions,
Yeah.
and I'll take back the message to our HR department, who's taking the lead on behalf of the city, for us to have a follow-up meeting. But I think you had already spoken to Monica, because we got an email that everything's a go at our site.
Yes, I spoke to Monica, and I was not aware of the situation. So we were told that there was going to be a change in wages per hour in early December. So I spoke to the young man, and he said that he was opting to get a higher wage. So if he would start on December the 1st. So he's actually he was actually this morning at Texas Workforce, because they have a certain amount of time before they process. But I'll revisit it with his counselor and revisit it with him, because that is an amazing accomplishment, to have the state look at that and fill the gap that existed, opens up the doors for everyone. So that'd be great.
So on behalf of the city, we thank Workforce, VR, the consultants, and this committee, because you're the ones who brought it to the attention of the city. It was this committee, Mr. Castellón, the chair, and Ms. Gutierrez met as members of the committee to tell the city they needed to get their act together with making sure that we were providing every opportunity for people with disabilities.
And I really want to thank Mrs. Gutierrez, because I know she was just pulling out her hair because this really was a service gap. And we shot it up the chain over and over again, and nobody had any answers. I don't think.
No, what we have to do-
I'm not saying we're the reason this came through. I mean,
I
I'm
think
sure
you all
there's
are.
other issues throughout the state of Texas, but yeah, sometimes it takes an issue and a stuck place to show the state level that we don't have the services to make this happen, and something's got to be different. So. Yes, it's a
That's
a
right.
blessing.
It's a
It's a
very good
big deal.
opportunity.
It's a biggie, yes.
So thank you so
Well,
much.
persistence
'Cause,
pays off.
Amen.
yeah, and the wages are not bad either. So,
No, they're not.
They're not, and I think it's gonna be good because I know sometimes, Mrs. Gutierrez, you could probably speak to this a little bit more, but I think some businesses are a little shy about getting kids on board because you got that underage and the legalities and the parent and these are adults.
Right.
You know, and so I think businesses would be a little more open
embrace
because
it.
this is an adult person. Yes, they still have rights as an individual with a disability, but I think they see it as a lower risk, if you will. And of course, we'll continue the SEAL programs and the youth paid work, but I think this is going to open a lot of doors for
Yes,
us.
that's awesome.
And
That then children could walk through at a later
Yes, that's
time.
what
And then it works kind of as it's that little bridge that where a business is a little bit hesitant in hiring somebody with a disability. Hey, well,
Let's try 'em out for
Let's try
90
them out.
days.
See, like actually, you get to experience, and they might be like, oh, well, I don't know what I was thinking. Like it was
Exactly.
just my own, fears. So I think this is awesome.
Well,
That's great.
the PSA you all created says that. And it's been airing. We're still trying to get the times from paid media, what time they're showing them. 'Cause we didn't pay them, but they're KGNS and all of
Where'd you get
that.
that money?
But,
Somebody's paying it.
but the city's public access is running it. We've seen it. I've already seen it. And you all did a great job. It's a very nice PSA where the employers are talking. You know, these are like everyone else, and they're doing an excellent job. But they just need an opportunity.
Absolutely.
You know what? If I may add one last thing, because I know we were going to close and everything, but I think the bigger picture is that community wins, and I say that because the benefits that are being received by the person that's placed to work are nothing compared to the benefits and the empowerment that the community itself is going to receive, because they will learn that all their myths, all their stereotypes are diminished when they see the possibilities that exist in a person who was seen as not being capable, and they're going like, wow. I mean, those of us that have worked with individuals with disabilities, I'm always walk out of there a better person and a much stronger person. I think they give me more than I can ever provide for them.
You're right,
So,
Mrs.
it's a win-win.
Gutierrez, because at the Reverse Job Fair, which was another great success for us, and thank you for participating, everybody that assisted with that. Diana did a lot of long hours, a lot of hard work that went into that. But it almost, it's like it took a life of its own, because I think I think a business can easily dismiss an individual with a disability, even if they're qualified on paper. That's easy to do because you just set it aside and, say a Hail Mary tonight and everything will be okay. But when you are standing in front of an individual with a disability in a 3-piece suit with all his certifications on the table, a tripod you could clearly see they worked very hard on, I want to see you walk away from that. It's harder to dismiss, and it's almost like, in my passive aggressive side, it's kind of like saying, you want to dismiss him, you go tell him that he's dismissed. And it's not easy to do. And I think Mrs. Gutierrez is right that we could see businesses looking at the person like, you're an individual with a disability? You're not in a wheelchair, you're not blind, like, because again, it busts that misconception of what an individual with a disability looks like. They're not all in wheelchairs. Yes, some are, but some have those hidden disabilities that what does it matter if they can do the job? And so it was a powerful experience. It really, really was. So,
And I will share, to add to that, you know, when the city HR came, because of course we had the employer orientation, and then city HR came, because one of the individuals from the HR, she had an idea. She says, well, why don't we, you know, come? And I'm like, I'm going for that one. Yeah, come today, right? So why don't you all come and we can go ahead and get together and we'll, you know, get the individuals looking for work and we'll get in a room and we'll set everything up. I mean, this happened. Jeanette, you're okay with it? Dale, let's go. So it happened, and it was very different because they're like, wow, you know, it was amazing to talk to them and understand them rather than, like Jeanette says, you see them on paper. So we're gonna have some good stuff.
But my favorite part of the whole reverse job fair was Dr. Gonzalez when you walked in, and I said, "Oh, Dr. Gonzalez."
He was the first one there,
and he said, "I am here as a hiring employer."
There you go.
And I thought, oh God, that was like really powerful.
And I can say, like,
that's
one of my
awesome.
customers, I wasn't here, like I came back the week after, and one of my customers, he was extremely grateful. Like, we were talking and he was so happy. He's like, Miss San Miguel, and I was like, I wasn't even here. He's like, but thank you, because you told me that you were gonna refer me to this, and he did say, you know, he got to talk to Dr. Gonzalez. Like, I guess just the opportunity and the fact that he felt that he was out there and he was seen. So he's like, I'm gonna make something happen. So he's been up and about, and
I think their confidence was boosted.
Yes, they did.
I know some of them, when they come in to do their TRIFO, were kind of with their head hanging down. You know, they've just been rejected so often and so much that I think they expected. And when you guys finished with that trifold,
We had the music going. We're like, what are they? We're gonna get this done.
Where's that job? That job is mine.
Nobody can tell you no.
I mean, it was just amazing. It was more than we could have ever anticipated.
Yes, I agree.
It was very powerful.
And thank you, Dr. Gonzalez, because you were one of the first ones. You said, check him out. But we appreciate
We got 8 interviews. 2 people got hired before the event even started. We're still following up on the stats to see what they, you know, because people can't just hire on. They don't always have the luxury to hire on the spot, unless you're a mom and pop and you call the shots and you can say, hey, start Monday. But most people, especially like the city, there's a very long process to that. But 8 interview offers is incredible for individuals with disabilities. So it was great.
Oh, congratulations.
I wanted to share that I guess on that topic, we do have a young man who is processing for what is it called, Getter Communication, and he'll be doing a morning show. So we're super excited about that.
Good.
Oh, was he the one that cut his sideburns?
Yes, ma'am.
He's like, what do you think? Do I leave him? Nah, quítate las manitas. You want this job? Okay. I'll
He
go
said,
back,
the
don't worry.
businesses are fighting for me. It's because I cut my sideburns. We're like, yeah, that's what it is.
Well, good job, Ceci. That's
Good
great.
job.
Well, to all of you.
Yeah.
To all of you.
To everybody.
Yeah, thank you all. And it's a good idea, the new concept about hiring adults.
Oh,
Okay,
it's
those new
awesome.
wages, that's really
We're so
great.
excited. I think it's also going to allow businesses
the
to
door.
see those individuals with disabilities in their work site. Going to the restroom, going to the lunchroom, it starts to normalize that,
Yes.
you know, their presence, instead of, oh, we're gonna get sued and they're gonna fall and they're gonna do this, and that hardly ever happens.
Jeanette, do you have an idea? Wait, doctor.
No.
Do you have an idea of how many adults with disabilities the city has that are actively looking for a job?
Well, I can tell you what our caseloads are. Of course, they're not all tapped into VR, so I'm sure there's more. But an average caseload is 85. We have 14 counselors.
Over 1,000?
And those are just those connected with VR. Those
A
are
lot of
not
people don't
those
even
out
know
there
this.
that
Yes.
have not found us, because we'll be hitting 100 years next year as an agency, and we still hear people say, "We didn't know y'all were here. We didn't know y'all paid tuition. We didn't know that y'all," and it's like we're like the best kept secret.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, the only thing I was gonna add on the youth side, that played sensitivity with our staff here, having the young man in a wheelchair, there was apprehension from our staff, but after the 6 weeks he was with us, he became one of us, and people were all really conscious, and ours was, and Ms. Gutierrez was the coach, that no, you treat him just like you would anyone, and he did a great job. But
Yes, he
it
did.
created sensitivity for our staff.
Yes.
Yeah,
The real
just
on
their
hand.
presence.
Yeah. And you were saying, Dr. You all are gonna interview too? Yay, that's awesome.
You need to get that on the
Sí, a ver, no ponle aquí. We're being recorded, eh? Thank you so much.
So under this new guidance program, is there a cap as to how many individuals can be hired? Is there like a budgetary limit?
No, it would, of course, the counselor, Marta being a counselor, would, the person goes through VR to see if they're eligible, because not every individual with a disability is eligible for our services. We're not an entitlement program. But any person that Marta determined eligible and then got ready to write an individualized plan of employment, she has to believe that's an appropriate service for that customer to be able to become employed. So it's not like you could send an influx of people and they're all going to be set up by Monday. Our VR process is still our VR process, but that is now a service that Marta can look at as an option, whereas before it didn't exist.
It's gonna open up.
So.
That's great news.
And if you ask a counselor, just a disclaimer, they might still not know, because counselors are, remember, seeing customers every single day, all day. And their turnaround for an email is about a week. So they may not even have read this yet. You know, it's very new. So if you call, don't be frustrated if they say, what? Because I just read it this morning. I'm the manager. I should be embarrassed to say that, but it just is what it is. There's just
And I
so
just came
much
back, so I was
going
like,
on. So just be patient with us if you refer someone, because it is hot off the press. So.
Well, thank you. I'm glad to hear there's so much progress and so much good stuff going on. And thank you, Dr. Gonzalez. I know that you're always the trendsetter.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are, Dr. Gonzalez.
So thank you, and your staff. I guess we can go to the next item. There is no next item. There's announcements, but there is a presence sheet or absence sheet or whatever we want to call it. Do you all have that?
No, it was only because it wasn't a,
Okay, it was
you
only.
can discuss it, but it wasn't in the
only for you.
agenda.
Oh,
That's
Oh,
fine.
yes, the membership.
But we
That
can,
was-
but we
that
can give it
was
to everyone,
pending
Mr. Chair.
from last.
Yeah, we need to put it back on the agenda for discussion and action,
Yeah.
but you can discuss it.
Okay.
Which is why you only have it, but we'll send it out to everybody.
Well, I want to discuss, although it's not on the agenda, it was in the agenda last time. Okay?
Yes, it was.
Yes.
And prior to that, I think it was also there.
A couple
Okay,
of
we had a
times.
discussion, okay?
Yes.
And the reason why this is still an ongoing issue is that the first time this issue came up, it was discussed very broadly, very quickly, very everything, okay? And so there was some discussion that went on about, because I think that we're at 10 people, okay, 10 members, okay? And there had been discussion about bringing in other organizations into the group, okay? And so in doing that, we've also had discussions about where most committees for the city of Laredo are kept at around 10. Okay, so we're already at capacity. So there was discussion about, okay, so how do we make room for these one or two other organizations that should be present but are not present? And so there was discussion about, and I'm not gonna discuss who or what or where it came from, okay? But pretty much the discussion was about possibly the possibility of removing certain individuals, okay, or organizations, okay? And there was discussion, and I'll be very honest with you, I know that ever since the organizations collapsed at the state level, okay, some of you represent the same organization several times over, okay?
Exactly.
I thought about it.
And
Yeah.
so that's where that discussion went, okay? And I'm gonna tell you, I don't remember who it was or, okay, whether it came from your side or our side, or I don't know, okay? About minimizing, okay, or limiting the number of representatives from one organization,
Yes.
okay? Yes.
No, I was just gonna say that you're absolutely right. So what happened, just really briefly, is that Diana was originally representing Workforce Solutions, which is a totally different agency. But then we stole her, so now she's VR. Marta originally was representing blind and visually impaired, which was a different agency. But you're right, Chair, now that we're conjoined, we're the same agency.
Correct.
So the three of us, although not initially all representing VR, are now all representing VR. And I think I speak for you guys that we're comfortable. Diana and I were talking about it on our way over here because I did the minutes and I said about that membership. We're completely comfortable with whoever you wish to remove or leave, to have only one representative for VR, because we understand that perhaps we can have a Lion member or somebody else to
Well, the
make
discussion has
this,
circled around one of the major rehab
So it's
organizations in
fine.
Laredo, okay?
Uh-huh.
The Ruth B.
And so
Yeah.
after that discussion, okay, everybody went off. And needless to say that I was approached later, okay? And the person was very adamant and very strong about making sure that they continue to be here representing. They wanted to continue participating in the committee, okay? And so I assured that individual that no decision would be made until all of us were here, okay, and we had an opportunity to discuss it with each other, okay. I understand that you all were the same entity, okay, but you all may have different specialties, okay, and different sides of that. I know that you oversee everything, but I don't know if you have the same kind of expertise that Marta might have or that Diana might have. I don't know, okay, I'm just, okay, you may, but I don't know. And so do we absolutely need to have someone like Marta in the group? Do we have to have somebody with Diana's skill and talent here as well? And so that's something that needs to be discussed. I'm not gonna pretend to try to make a decision, because at the end of the day, I don't even think I have the capacity to make that decision, because all of us were allegedly appointed by the mayor,
Yes.
okay?
Yes.
And so we send our recommendations to the mayor, and the mayor says yes, no, maybe, I don't know, whatever. What do you all think? And so I can't remove any of you, okay? I wouldn't feel comfortable doing that, okay? Nor adding anyone. So I'm bringing you all this item because it needs to be discussed fully and openly and fairly and you know, and if you don't like it, you don't like it. You need to tell me. You know what? This is I refuse to be removed. I've invested too much energy, time, and effort here. I will not be removed. You won't, okay?
And Mr. Chair,
So I just want to make sure that, because
Yes.
when I got ear of it, okay, I was like called and I was told like, I heard that you're going in this direction. I don't appreciate it. Okay, what's going on? And I was like, it was never discussed that way. Okay, and so you all need to understand that it was a very informal discussion. okay? And I don't even know how it was brought up, that 4 of you or 5 of you represent the same entity, because even Mr. Delgado's in that group, is he not?
Yes, he is.
Okay,
No, actually,
so-
he's Workforce Solutions.
Yeah.
He's not VR.
So this is where that went, okay?
He's more community.
And at one point, about 1 or 2 years ago, I think, Diana, you wanted to bring 2 ladies from an organization.
Which was Ruth B. Cowan.
And so
yes,
we,
yes.
Way
and
back in
so-
the day.
And so we
They would be
opposed
good at
it,
the table.
of bringing 2 individuals, because they've got too many votes coming from one
Yes.
central, one direction, okay? And so pretty much,
Yeah.
I recall.
you know, it's not like we
Like
deal
we are
with real
talking
super duper ethical, moral issues here and budgetary issues that you guys would like swing it and take the vote every time, okay? That's not the way it would work.
No.
But I just want you all to make sure, I want to assure you all that this is up for discussion, okay? It's not, nothing's been set, okay? I apologize to the individual who called me, okay? That was somewhat, I guess, bothered by the discussion that had occurred. And I think there was a limited amount of individuals that were here on that day. I know that you were here, I know that Dr. Ruthinger was here, I was here. I don't know who else was here, okay? But that was a discussion, but nothing was cemented, nothing was decided. But I do remember that one of the primary issues that addressing that topic had to do with, oh, you've got 4 people representing the same organization. Is that fair? Is that, should it be represented by fewer of them? Okay, so that we can open the door to other organizations. Can they continue remaining as an advisory member, as we had discussed in the past, okay? And all that's possible and feasible. But I want you all to know that even at that, even if we come to some conclusion and some decision, I don't think we have the last say so here. We have to still run it by the mayor, at least to have him, his opinion. And I know that he's gonna probably tell us, you all are in that fishbowl, you all know better than I could decide. So you tell me.
Mr. Chair, and that, you're absolutely correct. We brought this up to the mayor. This is his Blue Ribbon Committee. He's already said it's up to you who you include or not. He certainly initially had some appointees, but as the group gets more attention, yes, people like Ruth B. Cal, the Lions should be invited. And you can always have stakeholders. Another city group that I serve as the liaison is the Drug and Alcohol Commission. There are 14 members, but that's a joint between city and county. But they always have stakeholders there too, and so there's always 15 to 20 people at the meeting. But the voting members, and that's the difference, is only the ones appointed by the Drug and Alcohol. Is each council member and the mayor voted one. This committee is totally appointed by the mayor. But let me tell you, he's committed. You all have made a big impression on educating him. And so he's happy with the committee. He's happy with the membership. And when we discussed it, he put it back on exactly as the chair is saying. It's up to you all. You decide who wants to be in it. You decide who else to add. It's your decision. Naturally, at the end, anyone appointed, he has to appoint them. It just left you all, then you're all sworn in by the city secretary. But that's operational. I think the important thing is you all coming to consensus that you stay as is and you add more members, make it bigger. That is up to you.
No, you all are here because you all add value, okay? If you didn't add value, I don't think, and you've shown a genuine interest in continuing. So some of the disadvantages of going bigger is that it creates a more challenging number to meet the quorum, okay? That's always an issue, okay? But I know that since we are now able to do it through phone, attendance through the phone, it makes it much easier for us to get quorum. But still, that's something that needs to be discussed among, between us, okay? I don't know if you all have any ideas, any things that you all like to express. I just want to tell you that, I value your participation for the most part. You all have been here as long as I've been here, and that's like forever. okay?
The chair has been two different mayors, so that's why it's saying.
And so,
And Ms. Adam.
and so I do want to make sure that you all, it bothers, I feel uncomfortable that the discussion that went on in your absence, okay, may have concerned you or triggered your, or created concern to the point where I'm being eliminated and I wasn't even there to discuss it or defend myself, okay? And I just want to make sure that you all know that. One of the things that we had discussed was those individuals who are absent, okay, and frequently not here and present, okay? And that's the time I had asked for this, okay? And so there are a number of members, okay, who have been absent significantly, okay? I think at one point, had we discussed that if you were absent more than 3 times in a calendar year, you're...
Actually, that's by city ordinance, and so that each commission, each advisory, each Blue Ribbon Committee, that there is an absent, there's a ceiling on absences, and that's by ordinance. We were asked to implement it, be flexible as we started, but to remind all the commissions, boards, advisory groups that there is a cap, and that's by council. I can tell you that what they said, I don't agree with, because you all are volunteers, but there is a limit, and that's by charter, by ordinance, and so this is why we gave you the attendance. Your decision, you can adhere to the attendance issue strictly starting January 1.
Like Janet, you've got 4 employees here, okay? I don't know what kind of strain that puts your organization in by having them here.
Well,
I don't
actually,
know.
I'm the one in strain, to be honest.
She's the secretary.
For me, it is difficult sometimes to make the meetings, and I think as the secretary, I don't have the luxury to teleconference in. I wouldn't be able to really hear, not to write the minutes properly. But I will openly and honestly say I have had a lot of absences because it's a great challenge to me. But I'm loyal to the BRC, and I, don't want to say, hey, I can't do this anymore, or get someone else to take the minutes. So I do the very best that I can. But I'm not a sensitive person. I am okay with whoever has, if I have to be removed. I think what is in the best interest of the BRC is what's important, because that's what this is about. It's not about individual egos and people. It's about the BRC and what it's doing in the community for the community. So I'm okay staying or going, just for the record. I will continue to do my job if that's, what's decided. But I think that you as the chair should make a decision. That's just my thought, because we'll be voting here till eternity
That's
trying to
too
figure out who's who.
That's too easy.
Because you're the chair.
And Mr. Chair, the first thing is then to put it formally in the agenda, and if the committee wants, then we can put it in for the December, or you tell me, or the January
Is there a
agenda.
time limit? Like, do you have to get back with someone?
No. This was
there
just
is
a
no time
discussion
limit.
that we had. Okay, I don't even know how it surfaced. Okay, I think it surfaced
Because it's been lingering.
there was discussion about Rigby Cow on several meetings that we've had. Okay, but then we were capped at 10. So how do we do that? Okay, and I don't know what instigated the conversation, but it went there. Okay.
And it makes sense. It makes
Okay.
sense.
It does make, because I even thought about it too in regards to, hey, now we're both VR. And yes, I'm blind, like specialty, but you're like, we're still both VR. Or now, Mesiana's VR, so we're like.
I would like to vote for the chair to decide and for us to honor the decision and put aside our egos. That's
Yeah,
my
and to me
opinion.
it wouldn't be an issue either, because I know what you guys do, what we do, so I know everybody's, serving, we're serving for the, we're going the same way. So even then, I was even thinking, hey, let's say if it's Ms. Ramos, the one that stays, she'll still know who to appropriately disperse the information, or hey, let's bring in Marta for the next meeting because we're having this issue, or hey, let's bring Diana because she has this history, or so even then again, to me, it wouldn't even be an issue.
Well, Mr. Chair, we need to put it, so you can take a vote, an action, we need to put it in the agenda. So you tell me if you want it in December or January, that's up to you.
We can put it in
Let's not make it a Christmas
No.
thing.
And then, one more thing to clarify, this is a blue ribbon solely by the mayor. There is no limitation on membership. And all the other advisory groups, commissions, boards, it's one per council member and the mayor, and that's why the magic number of 9 to 10. For this committee, it's up to you. But I agree with you, the bigger you are, quorum becomes an issue. It becomes an issue, but so we'll put it on January agenda?
I think January
Because
is
December is very, it's tough for
Yeah, in
them.
January, I know that last year, I don't think we made the December meeting last year.
I don't think we had
The
a
year, the year before we met, we were at the
Oh, yes, at that food store.
father's, at the store, yeah.
I don't
Uh-huh.
think we should have
At
it
the
in
church?
December.
Yeah.
See, that's right.
But last year, you're right, we did not have a
We didn't
December
have a
meeting.
meeting. It's very hard to meet in December.
And that, before you adjourn, that was my final thing. Do you want to schedule a December meeting? And you don't have to decide again today, you just need to let me know so we can, because we've got time to, because this is a formal committee of the city and we have to post.
The 18th, it would fall on Wednesday, the 18th.
And then based on minutes from the past, you wanted a future meeting at the Cherish Center.
December is kind of hectic for us, so we did Cherish. They have a lot of activities
That's
going
the
on.
week before Christmas.
December 1, 2, 3, that would be.
That's our last week of
18th.
school for us.
Your next scheduled meeting is December the 18th. But- And you don't have to do it,
But do we have to have a
Today.
meeting or?
you're scheduled and again by ordinance, you meet monthly, but you can have special meetings, you can decide because of the holidays and this committee has done that. You didn't meet one December last year, another December you did meet. We met at Joseph's place and had a nice lunch. It's up to you.
Because there's a chance that some of us might be leaving the meeting, the BRC, it would be nice to get together on the 18th.
Our farewells.
So that in case we are not all left at the table in January, which is okay, that we at least got together one last time. That's my thought.
I like that. Have a lunch.
The chair doesn't like that.
The chair's sad.
Yeah, well, he's not.
He's just sad overall.
Yeah, I'm not leaning towards removing anyone, okay?
Mr. Chair, again, you don't have to decide right now.
It's not on the agenda.
We'll send out
He's the one that's gonna be sad and poor.
This decision we can't make until we post it. What I'm saying about having a December meeting, we can survey you and decide. You don't have to.
I would maybe just have a lunch in somewhere
Yeah.
That
for
would be
December
nice.
Like a special meeting.
Yeah.
instead of an actual meeting. Because December, I know for us, the school district is very hectic.
super
That's the
crazy,
last
yeah.
week for us. It
Yeah,
is
well, we can do
very-
that then. We can just like hang out.
Okay. You all tell me.
Netflix with popcorn.
The new Disney.
Disney Plus.
Frozen
Yeah,
tea.
we can just like do lunch somewhere, I guess. That would be-
Yeah, that would be nice.
We can ask Joseph's again. I mean, you tell me. And we'll survey you, so you can let me know.
See, Eduardo's now. They have a place in the back.
Eduardo's.
They do, right?
They have
That's
a
a good
little area in
place.
the
They
back.
have good food.
Yeah. La Posada is really nice too, though.
It depends if it's
But the
Mexican.
parking.
Hey,
Yeah, I
it's
know,
Mexican
that's
Day.
true. Ah, sí, ¿verdad?
Send out a.
Then, Mr. Chair, we'll send out a survey
Okay.
to see where,
Okay.
and tentatively we'll keep.
Excuse me, I have a suggestion. How about Luby's?
How about Shadows?
I love movies.
I love
That would be my first choice, but no, I said I'm too old.
I love Luby.
I think Luby's
We'll put them in the, we'll put 'em in the survey.
You're gonna, if Luby wins, you know who. Yeah, I love Luby's too. It's my favorite thing.
Yeah, we can do a number of, let's see where we want to go.
Okay.
Okay, so.
Okay.
So any other further discussion regarding that topic? No? Okay, well, gather your thoughts.
I think we did a meeting, we did a
Gather
meeting
your
in
thoughts,
January,
gather
we
your
discussed it with all committee members. It's a sensitive topic.
Yeah, it's a test
Tough.
thing.
Yeah, that's how come I think it was important to get
together.
We're
back
all
to you all.
servants, we're not used to like doing that. We're all totally inclusive.
Mr.
So-
Chair,
That's why I
before we
say-
close, just wanted to let you know, I'm sitting here at my desk, so I found 2 very nice screeners, but they're very comprehensive, maybe too comprehensive for what we need, so we may want to get together and adapt that. I also shot an email to one of the speech therapists that I used to supervise at the autism outpatient clinic here in town to ask him to send me any screeners he may have. So I'll put the finishing touches on that and hopefully have it for you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, well, so if there's anyone, there's no further discussion, then can we go ahead and adjourn? And,
Make a motion to adjourn.
okay,
Second.
okay, so meeting's adjourned. Thank you so much for being here.